Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about one thing, not 5 habits, not a 10-day protocol, not a list of nutrients you might be missing, just one. Because sometimes the most useful thing isn't more information, it's identifying the single variable that is quietly amplifying every other problem you have. The one thing that, when it's present, makes your gut worse, your sleep worse, your cravings worse, your energy worse, your mood worse, and your capacity to change any of it worse. Let me start with the gut, because that's the center of everything we talk about on this channel. During sleep, specifically during the deep, slow-wave stages, your gut undergoes active structural repair. The intestinal epithelium, the single-cell thick lining that separates your gut contents from your bloodstream, turns over rapidly and depends on nighttime rest to regenerate properly. The migrating motor complex, which is the gut's housekeeping mechanism that sweeps residue through the digestive tract between meals, runs its most critical cycles in the overnight window, and melatonin produced in the gut at concentrations far higher than in the brain acts as a local anti-inflammatory agent that maintains the integrity of tight junctions in the gut wall. According to research, even 2 nights of sleep restricted to under 6 hours measurably increased intestinal permeability markers and reduced the abundance of beneficial bacterial strains in otherwise healthy participants. 2 nights, not months of poor sleep. Not a clinical sleep disorder. Just 2 nights of what most young adults consider a normal week. Now here is where it compounds. A more permeable gut lining allows bacterial byproducts to enter circulation and trigger systemic inflammation. That inflammation impairs mitochondrial energy production, which deepens fatigue. Deeper fatigue increases cortisol as the body attempts to compensate. Elevated cortisol further disrupts gut barrier function and suppresses overnight immune repair, and the cycle tightens. But it doesn't stop there. According to research, sleep deprivation directly dysregulates the 2 hormones most responsible for hunger and satiety, ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin, the hunger signaling hormone, rises. Leptin, the satiety hormone, falls. The result is not just increased appetite, it is a specific, documented shift in food preferences toward high-sugar, high-sat, high-calorie foods. In one study, sleep-restricted participants consumed on average significantly more calories the following day, with a disproportionate increase in snack consumption in the evening hours. They weren't choosing poorly. Their hormonal environment was choosing for them. This is the part I want you to sit with. Every dietary change you try to make, every habit you attempt to build, every piece of nutritional advice you try to implement, all of it is being filtered through a hormonal and neurological environment that insufficient sleep is actively degrading. You are trying to make good decisions with a brain that has reduced prefrontal function. You are trying to regulate appetite with hormones that are working against you. You are trying to repair a gut that isn't getting its nightly maintenance window. And you are trying to sustain motivation with a dopamine and serotonin system that depends on sleep to recalibrate overnight. In one study, this was examined with striking clarity. Participants who improved sleep consistency, not total duration, but regularity of bedtime and wake time, showed meaningful improvements in dietary quality. Reported fewer cravings, experienced lower perceived stress, and demonstrated better gut symptom scores within 3 weeks. Without changing their diet. Without adding supplements. Without a new exercise routine. Just more consistent sleep. According to research, the gut microbiome itself has a circadian rhythm. Bacterial populations shift in composition and activity across the 24-hour cycle, responding to feeding times, light exposure, and the hormonal signals that regulate the sleep-wake cycle. When sleep timing is irregular, when you go to bed at different times each night, when you sleep in dramatically on weekends to compensate for a sleep debt built during the week, this bacterial circadian rhythm desynchronizes. The populations that should be active during the day become active at night. The repair processes that should run overnight get disrupted, and the entire gut ecosystem operates on a schedule that no longer aligns with the rest of your biology. This is why social jet lag, the term researchers use for the misalignment between your biological clock and your social schedule, is associated with higher inflammatory markers, worse metabolic profiles, and more frequent digestive symptoms in young adults even when total weekly sleep hours appear adequate. I know this is not the answer most people are looking for. Sleep feels passive. It doesn't feel like doing something. It doesn't come with a protocol or a supplement stack or a dramatic dietary overhaul. It just feels like going to bed. But that is precisely why it's the one thing, because it is foundational in a way that nothing else is. Every other intervention you layer on top of insufficient sleep is working at a fraction of its potential. Every habit you try to build is harder to build. Every system you try to repair is slower to repair. And every problem you are currently experiencing, the fatigue, the cravings, the gut symptoms, the mood instability, the brain fog, is being made measurably worse by the simple, fixable fact that your body is not getting the recovery window it was built around. Fix the sleep. Not perfectly, not overnight, but consistently, deliberately, and with the understanding that this is not a lifestyle preference. It is the biological foundation everything else is trying to stand on. I hope this landed the way it was intended, not as another thing to feel bad about, but as the clearest possible direction to look. Drop a comment and tell me what your relationship with sleep actually looks like. I read everything. If this was useful, hit the like button. It matters more than you think for getting this content to people who need it. And if you're new to Nutriflow, this is exactly the kind of conversation we have here. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next one.